All right, so today we are diving into a talk called Holiness to the Lord in Everyday Life.
Okay.
We've got excerpts, we've got personal stories, the works,
Yeah.
and we're going to explore how holiness isn't just for Sundays, but something that can bring more joy, purpose, and connection into your everyday life.
Yeah, I like that. We often think of holiness as this distant, kind of unattainable goal.
Right.
But this talk really encourages us to find the sacred in the everyday.
Exactly. It's like imagine a dad joke competition, okay?
Yeah.
But between Elder Gerrit W. Gong and an AI programmed to tell jokes like him.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
So Elder Gong hits us with a classic like, what do you call a dinosaur who crashes his car? You know the answer, right?
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Nailed it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Total dad joke.
Yeah.
But then the AI, in true Elder Gong fashion, quips, why did the humble tree make people smile?
Mm,
Because it was rooted in love and reached out with branches of kindness.
it's very sweet.
It's heartwarming, but like not exactly side-splitting.
No, not really a knee slapper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that contrast, I think, highlights a key theme of the talk, which is that holiness and joy go hand in hand.
Yeah. It's like that old saying, the way we do anything is the way we do everything.
Right.
If you apply that to holiness, it's about finding joy in the everyday, in the little things, rather than seeing it as this big, serious endeavor.
Right. And the talk really emphasizes that holiness isn't just some abstract concept. It has a real positive impact on people's lives.
And what's interesting? Research actually backs that up.
Really?
Yeah, there are studies that show that people who actively practice their faith tend to be happier, healthier, and more fulfilled compared to those who don't.
Wow.
It's like having this underlying support system that provides a sense of purpose and belonging and hope, even when things get tough.
Totally. Like
Right.
you have a built-in framework for navigating all those ups and downs.
Absolutely.
And speaking of frameworks, Elder Gong outlines 7 C's of living a holy life.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not saying you need to check them off a list,
Right.
but rather kind of see them as these interconnected facets of a life lived with intention.
Yeah, they're all connected, right. And these C's offer a roadmap for connecting with something larger than ourselves.
Okay.
So we're talking about communion with God, building those genuine connections with others through community and compassion, making commitments, covenants with God, our families, our friends, and all of this is centered in Jesus Christ.
Okay, so it's like a recipe
Yeah.
for a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what really brings this to life? The real life stories that he shares.
Oh, absolutely. They add so much depth and relatability to these concepts.
Okay, so like the story of the young couple.
Yes.
The wife's honesty about her struggles with tithing really resonated with me, especially early on. I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling of questioning, of wondering if our small contributions really make a difference.
Absolutely. And it's through her journey that we see how challenges, even those that make us question our faith, right, can be opportunities for immense growth. She goes from wondering why God needs her money to experiencing the blessings that come from obedience firsthand.
Yeah, and it's not just about the material blessings.
Right.
It's about the spiritual confidence she gains.
Yeah.
The ability to stand up for what she believes in, even when she's surrounded by people who may not share her views.
Right. Like that experience she shares about being in nursing school and feeling judged for her beliefs.
Yes.
Yeah, it highlights the importance of finding your voice, of standing firm in your convictions, even when it's uncomfortable.
And let's not forget about her husband. Talk about dedication.
Right.
He puts aside his dream of a baseball scholarship to serve a mission.
Wow.
And get this, he comes back even stronger on the field and in his personal life.
Right.
It makes you think about the incredible things that can happen when we prioritize our spiritual growth, even if it means making sacrifices in other areas.
Absolutely. His story challenges us to ask ourselves, what are we willing to put on hold to pursue a deeper connection with the divine? What might we gain in the process that we never even imagined?
And it's not like he completely abandons his passion for baseball.
Right.
He actually went on to play professionally after his mission.
Wow.
So it's a powerful reminder that sometimes taking a detour from our plans, even one that seems counterintuitive, can lead us to a destination more incredible than we could have ever imagined.
And it reinforces the idea that dedicating time to spiritual growth doesn't mean neglecting other aspirations.
Right.
In fact, it can often enhance them in ways we never expected.
And sometimes those detours lead us to places of healing and reconciliation.
Yeah.
Like in the story of the senior missionary who decides to serve a mission later in life.
Oh, that story gets me every time. Here's a man grappling with this complex relationship with his father, even after his father has passed away, right?
Right.
And he's searching for some peace, some closure. And through that act of service, dedicating his time and energy to something so much bigger than himself, he finds this way to honor his father's memory and find that healing.
Yeah. It's like this beautiful reminder that even after death, those relationships can still bring us comfort. You know what really struck me about that story?
What's that?
It said that among his brothers, the ones who served missions were also the ones who went on to earn college degrees.
Oh, interesting.
It's like this subtle nod to the idea that spiritual growth and worldly achievements can go hand in hand.
Totally. It's like dedicating time to our spiritual development. It doesn't have to come at the expense of those other goals. In fact, it can provide more clarity, more discipline, a broader perspective that can really help us in other areas of our lives.
Right, like it almost propels you forward.
Totally.
Speaking of growth and unexpected lessons, there's that story about the returning missionary who learns a powerful lesson about prayer. It's not always about getting what we want.
That is such a hard lesson to learn. You know, he's praying for his sick friend, pouring his heart out, expecting a miracle. And when things don't go as planned, it really forces him to confront his understanding of how prayer works.
It's like he realizes that sometimes the answer isn't the outcome we expect, but a deeper sense of peace and understanding even in the midst of hardship.
Yeah, and that learning to surrender to a higher power, to trust that no matter what happens, we can find strength and guidance.
And that sense of interconnectedness,
Yeah.
of being part of something larger than ourselves. It's beautifully illustrated in the story of the university administrator who feels the impact of prayers from people he's never met.
Oh, wow. Imagine that.
Right. Imagine going about your day and you have no idea the unseen forces, the prayers, the good intentions being sent your way. It's kind of cool.
It really is. It makes you think about all the ways that we are connected that we don't even realize. It speaks to that lasting impact of a life lived with purpose. You dedicate yourself to something greater than yourself. And it creates these ripples that extend so far beyond what we can even imagine.
And sometimes that sense of connection, that anchoring to something larger than ourselves, is what gets us through those tough times. Like the story of the woman who finds the strength to stay in her marriage even after her husband's infidelity.
Oh, talk about resilience. Surrounded by the remnants of their life together, folding laundry, questioning everything. And in that quiet moment, she finds solace in remembering that her covenants are not just with her husband, but with God.
And it's like in that moment, that covenant becomes this unwavering foundation, right?
Yeah.
Like a source of strength and stability at a time when everything else feels like it's just crumbling around her.
It's that reminder that we can find strength beyond the ups and downs of those human relationships.
And speaking of transformative experiences, the story of the woman who finds healing and connection with her father through temple attendance. Oh my goodness.
I know, 50 years
I know.
of longing, a relationship that never found its footing. And then through the temple, they find this sense of peace, a sense of connection, that love really transcends the boundaries of this life.
It's like a powerful reminder that it's never too late for healing, for forgiveness, for building those bridges of understanding and love.
Yeah, even in, the twilight of our lives.
Exactly.
The temple really acts as that sacred space where we can mend hearts, where we can unite families, where we can just connect with the divine and feel whole.
And that sense of wholeness, of embracing life's joys and sorrows with an open heart, it shines through in Elder Gong's story about his mother's passing.
Oh, yeah. May I taste each one.
Even in her final moments, she just had this zest for life, this ability to find joy in everything.
I know. It's like she understood that holiness isn't about being perfect or somber, but embracing life's sweetness, even when it's hard.
It's true. Joy and sorrow, they can coexist. And even in loss, we can still find moments of gratitude for this incredible gift of life. And those moments of joy, those connections to something bigger than ourselves, are often what people describe experiencing when they visit the temple.
Yeah.
Like the three friends in the talk who visit the Bangkok, Thailand temple.
Their reaction, super healing, feeling washed clean, spiritual power. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's like you're stepping out of the everyday and into this realm of peace.
Yeah, a sanctuary where you can reconnect with yourself, with your spirituality.
It makes you think about holiness a little differently.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not about those rituals, or even the big gestures. It's about finding those small moments, those connections, that joy, that purpose in the everyday.
Totally.
It's about doing what we do every day, but doing it with intention.
Okay.
Like just a small act of kindness, or taking a second to pray.
Right.
Even just approaching your day with a thankful heart, all those little things, they can be expressions of holiness too. It's just remembering our connection to God.
It's like he says, it's about making daily living sacred.
Yeah. And that's something we can all reach for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wherever we are in our own journey.
Yeah. It's not about being perfect. It's about trying. It's about progress.
Absolutely. It's a journey, not the destination.
Yeah, yeah. And just like any good trip, right? It's meant to be enjoyed, even when things are hard. Because holiness ultimately brings us closer to God.
It does.
Through that love and compassion and joy.
Yeah.
And it helps us become our best selves.
It does. So as you're going about your day, your week, think about it. What does holiness to the Lord look like for you every day? What little changes could you make?
Okay.
To bring in a bit more of it?
What can you do differently? How can you serve? Where can you find those connections to really feel that joy and purpose? It's something to ponder.
It is.
And that wraps up our deep dive into holiness in everyday life.